Something. Welcome to Roundtable Discussion. I'm your host, Michael. And today we have a very special guest. He goes by the name of MJ, and he'll be here discussing his most recent article titled The Answer. So stay tuned. We're in for a very special treat. See you soon. And welcome back to our show. I am with our guest, MJ. MJ, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Let's dive right into it. I read your article from last week titled The Answer, and you started off with an Uncle Eero quote. And Uncle Eero's quote reads like this: "It's time for you to look inward and start asking yourself the big question. Who are you and what do you want?" I love Avatar, by the way.
Me too. I love the Avatar. One of the best shows, and my wife absolutely loves Appa.
Do you mind elaborating a little more on the importance of that quote?
I find great value in that quote. It reminds me a bit about this topic, one of my favorite topics, called Memento Mori.
Remembering death.
Yeah, absolutely. You know your stuff. That quote correlates to Memento Mori, and because Zuko was always trying to do things to please his father, he wanted recognition. He wasn't really living for himself. But famous Stoic philosopher and king Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave the earth right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." We should all stop worrying about what others think and try to figure out what we really want. We could lose our lives at any moment to some freak accident. And then what?
And what is it that you want?
I'm still trying to figure that out, to be fair. Somewhere around high school, I became really shy and reserved, and I'd like to eventually break out of that shell. I haven't spent much time being creative in my life, and I'd like to start exercising that muscle. I want to try different things, and hopefully that helps find out what I actually want.
And how's that journey going for you?
Well, it's definitely not easy, but it's given me a certain drive, and it feels good to work towards something. I've been trying different things, as I say, and embracing the difficulties that come with that, and it's truly been an amazing feeling.
What has been the most difficult?
Right now, I would say time management. I need to get better at that. I've gotten a lot better than before, but there are still many days where I don't manage my time effectively, and my day ends up going to shit. I end up regretting those days, but I'm getting a lot better.
There are plenty of people in my audience that struggle with time management. You mind elaborating a little bit on how you got better?
Well, that's a great question, and I'll talk to your audience directly. I try to schedule breaks in my days, in my weeks, just to make sure that I'm not going at a constant 100 miles an hour, that I am taking time to myself, for myself, I call that intentional laziness.
Oh, you heard it here, guys. Intentional laziness. I'm going to start incorporating intentional laziness into my routine.
I support it.
You wrote a lot about Seth Godin's advice of putting your work out there. Why not just do your work in secret?
First of all, I love the brain on that man. Seth Godin, his podcast, the Akimbo podcast, is one of my favorites. And if any of your audience are not listening to that podcast, I implore you to go check it out. I've gotten great value from it, and it's really motivating. So check it out. But to answer your question, if I do something in secret, it gives me an excuse to be lazy. There's no accountability really, and I end up falling off in a few weeks, or the longest I'll go a couple months and I fall off, and then I never do it again, or it takes a long time to do it. I've been through that, and I don't want to go through that anymore. There's also the value of hearing feedback from other people. I don't want to be putting out stuff and not understand if it's resonating with others.
Making your work available for people to see allows you to remain accountable and stay true to your journey. It also helps with feedback.
100%.
What is this minimum viable audience thing? Me being in entertainment, I want to reach as many people as possible. You mind elaborating?
My sister asked me the same thing as well. Why not try to get as many followers as possible? That's how you get ads and that's how you get money. But shout out to Crystal, by the way, before I continue, I just want to give props to my sister. For me, it's true that the more followers you have, the more of a reach and audience that you have. But I feel like if you worry about numbers, you end up losing track of your goal. And the minimum viable audience are the people that are engaged in the stuff that you're creating. They read your stuff, they watch your stuff, they offer feedback. Those are the people that I want to connect with.
I see, but don't you want to have millions of followers?
Well, if my stuff is resonating with millions of people, then that is absolutely great. But right now, it's not something I want to think about. I want to think about people that I could directly reach, and I feel that if I do that, it will prevent my content from being watered down.
I see. Thanks for clarifying. Finally, last question for you. Who are the others that you're trying to find?
For many years, I thought it was cool being a lone wolf. And let me say, while it looks good in movies, it's very difficult to accomplish anything by yourself. I'm realizing now how impossible it is to go about being a lone wolf. Being around people that inspire you and you in turn inspire them, that's a win-win. I'd like to find others that are out there trying to find their answer, and I'll support them to the best of my ability. If you're baking bread and your bread baking is not going so well, I support you, I got your back. Keep pushing, keep making that bread. If you're an actor, actress, and you feel discouraged, I got your back. I would love to build a support system that we continue to try to find out what our individual answers are.
Well, MJ, let's leave it there. Thanks for stopping by, and we hope to see you again.
I'll definitely be back. Thanks for having me, and thanks to your audience for tuning in.
That's it for our show. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week. Until then, this has been Michael.
With just time management
Are you talking yourself again?
nah, just brainstorming.